Welcome into Yanks Abroad after a big 1-0 win in the Gold Cup against Saudi Arabia, guaranteeing our next step into the knockout stages of the Gold Cup. Very, very exciting. We'll play Costa Rica, I believe, in that next match. And Chris Richards, instant reactions here. Much deserved goal after another top performance for Chris Richards. Just an unbelievable few matches and an unbelievable last year for Chris Richards. He really deserves everything that's happened to him. Hard worker, came to Crystal Palace, didn't go right from at the beginning, worked his way into the squad, started this year with injuries, comes back. Crystal Palace go on an unbelievable run in the league, in the FA Cup, now become the most important player, I would argue the most important player for the U.S. men's national team, and to cap it off with a winning goal tonight. So deserved for Chris Richards. Quick look at his statistics. Of course, that goal nearly scored a few minutes earlier off of a set piece with a header, but just ended up at the keeper, but well struck. 70 of 74 passing, 84 touches, 5 of 6 accurate long balls. Just an unbelievable match. 3 of 3 aerial duels won, 3 recoveries, 5 clearances, 2 blocks. That incredible block in the first half, which looked like it was going to wind up in an early goal for the Saudis. Just a great performance from Chris Richards, holding that team down at the back, helping Alex Freeman into what's been a remarkable 4 matches for Alex Freeman, and just a round of applause for Alex Freeman. This 20-year-old kid was on nobody's radar. I mean, I don't care who you are. He was on nobody's radar a couple of months ago. And now he has solidified himself as a starting right back in this squad. He is pushing to potentially be the starting right back next summer. But you have to just admire this kid. He has come in with the utmost confidence into the side. He has learned how to take calculated risks, how to play in a position he's unfamiliar with, and that 3 at the back that we see in possession so much, right? Like, when we're talking about Alex Freeman, this is a player who is mostly known for being an overlapping and attacking fullback. But he's being asked to play in this 3 at the back in possession, and he's just made himself at home. He'll constantly recycle play. He'll play this ball into Jack McGlinn, where McGlinn's been really good. I saw him even swap places. De La Torre came out to this side, right? Played a ball into Freeman here. Freeman took his man on, cut in here. He let De La Torre come here. He follows the ball all the way up here, and Alex Freeman tucks himself into midfield for a couple of minutes in possession. What Alex Freeman has done, you just can't say enough about him. And I said this so much on the live stream today, for those of you who were there, but I will reiterate it here. Where are the stories about Alex Freeman? Let's stop talking about Landon Donovan calling out Christian Pulisic's father. Let's stop talking about Sebastian Berhalter, whether or not he deserves to be in this side. Let's talk about a positive story, which is this 20-year-old kid, Alex Freeman, rising up through the ranks at Orlando City into the next MLS Next squad, having an unbelievable season for them, finding his way into the Orlando City first team squad, really being strong for them, and now being the starting right back for the USA. Let's write that story. Let's tell that story. To me, that's what needs to be talked about right now, not all the negative stuff. What Alex Freeman is doing is spectacular. And if it was happening for any other country, I can promise you the media would be talking about it endlessly. It is the story of the summer so far for the U.S. men's national team. And talking of Pochettino, listen, we had a very poor first half, and I'm going to get into the tactical breakdown in the second segment of this video, as I always do. But I want to credit Pochettino for realizing his mistakes in the first half. He had too many men in the early stages of buildup, was unable to break the lines, made the adjustments both personnel-wise and tactically, and the team adapted and really went after it in the second half. Dominated play, were much more confident on the ball, getting well more opportunities, one leading to a set piece and a goal. So credit to Mauricio Pochettino there. Jack McGlinn. I can't say enough about Jack McGlinn and the way that he's impressed me. We all have seen the highlights of the way he can score goals. We saw him do it against Turkey in that opening match in this summer's break. But what I didn't necessarily know about Jack McGlinn is just how creative and dangerous he can be on the ball. There were a couple of times I saw Jack McGlinn get the ball out wide and completely vary his play over and over again. 2 times he went to the byline and threw a ball across the 6-yard box. 1 time he gets the ball here into a little overload here with Tillman and Adjamang, plays the ball into Tillman, comes back to McGlinn, into Adjamang. Tillman overlaps here. McGlinn follows it, gets it back, goes out to Tillman. McGlinn keeps following it. The ball swings back around this way. McGlinn picks up the ball in this half space in the box, plays it into Luna's feet right here. Should have wound up in a goal. Just such a smart player who, again, I don't even think this is a guy who's a right winger by trade, being asked to play out on the right wing. This is a guy who likes to, receive the ball for the most part. I think McGlinn would like to get the ball here with runners in front of him and ping balls the way that we've seen him do so much, but very intelligent player, really going after this opportunity as well. And another one who you have to credit both Pochettino and the player for, he is taking this opportunity and he's really making the most of it. Like, let's look at McGlinn's numbers here. He was 40 of 46 passing. He had 0.6 expected assists, which is pretty incredible considering he created just 2 chances. So he created 2, the chances created stat. It just means you pass to a player who shot. But to create 0.6 expected assists means he passed to players who were in good opportunities to score goals. 3 of 3 on accurate crosses, 4 of 4 on accurate long balls, won his only area duel, made 3 recoveries, just really was effective all over the pitch, and an overall spectacular 62 minutes from Jack McGlinn in this match. What I mentioned with Pochettino, the adjustments he had to make, that adjustment being De La Torre and Berhalter just does not work in build-up together against a well-drilled team like the Saudis were. The two of them like to play sideways too much. Neither of them willing to take that risky pass. Berhalter is when he has the time, but I think he felt forced to play into De La Torre's feet too many times, and De La Torre kept going sideways. Nothing happened from it. I think in the first half, De La Torre completed 39 passes. One of those passes was into the final third, and we dominated possession. That tells you everything you need to know about Luca De La Torre. Patrick Adjamang, another match where you just feel like he's leaving a lot out there. There are 2 things about Patrick Adjamang that really frustrate me. Number 1, good number 9s, good physical number 9s. They do 2 things well. The first thing they do well is identify where their man is, and then the second thing is they get themselves between their man and the ball before they try to get on the ball. I talked about this in my, not the last video after the Trinidad match. I think I talked about it actually after the Turkey match. What Patrick Adjamang needs to get better at is getting himself between the man and the ball, and then once he's done that, he can track down the ball because he is going to be the first one to get there. He is so often trying to track down the ball that he's making it a 50-50 when it doesn't need to be. That's where Patrick Adjamang needs to get better. There were a couple times tonight I thought he did well to hold up the ball and kind of recycle play, but not enough times was he able to get that ball onto his feet and make an actual attacking situation arise from him winning the ball high up the pitch. I did think Damian Downs did that really well, and I'd like to see Patrick Adjamang cede those minutes to Damian Downs or Haji Wright, should Haji Wright get healthy. But my assumption is Haji Wright with an Achilles injury, not even making the squad, it doesn't bode well for his ability to potentially play more in this Gold Cup. And lastly, with the instant reaction before we get into the tactical breakdown, everything starts with Tim Ream. It does. In possession, everything starts with Tim Ream. When we're able to get high up the pitch, and Tim Ream is able to get here and has the time on the ball, he makes things happen. And when we're going to be possession dominant, when we're going to dominate a team like the Saudis, when we're going to have 67% possession in a match, Tim Ream is a must start. He really made things happen all match for the U.S. men's national team. Just to look at his passing statistics, 87 of 92 passing, 5 of 7 accurate long balls, 15 final third entries. 15 final third entries. Let's just compare that with our midfielders. Berhalter only had 14. De La Torre had 3. Chris Richards had 5. Tim Ream. Everything starts with Tim Ream. All right, let's get into the tactical breakdown as we always do. I talked about that extra man and build-up in the first half. So many times, and I talked about this in the last video, when we are struggling, Pochettino has now tried to kind of get into this 4-4-2, right? Where De La Torre kind of gets higher up and Luna gets here because you don't need that extra man and build up. Berhalter is able to float here. These 2 guys are able to step up here in a lot of ways and help create. But we didn't do that in the first half. We got stuck here over and over again, and we're unable to actually find a way into the interior here for the most part. And I blame it on 2 things. Number 1, the Saudis were really well drilled, and I credit them for that. They lined up 2 4s here, and they did not allow this pass into here. The only times that Ream was able to get this ball into here was when Diego Luna would get really close to Adjamang, Tim Ream was able to carry the ball into here, and these two lines of four, this line would be open. The defenders would kind of crush onto these two players, and then Luna would make a little 3-yard sprint into space. Ream played that ball into here. Luna played it around the corner into Arfson, and a couple of times we were able to get this going down into Ajimang on a cross. But other than that, the ball kept coming into De La Torre and going back into Richards or Ream and back around. We could not find any central access. Our opportunities all came from either diagonals from Richards or Berhalter into Arfson and then a cross in this way, or Freeman playing a ball down the line into McGlinn and McGlinn playing a ball in that way. And not only does it hurt us in terms of actual chance creation, but Malik Tillman, the type of player Malik Tillman is, he wants to have his fingerprints on the match early on. And when he doesn't, and this is maybe my biggest criticism of him, is he really is the type of player who needs to grow into a match to have an impact, and he struggles when he doesn't get enough touches. I think it was at the 38th minute I looked, and I think Malik Tillman had only 10 touches on the ball. He certainly ended up with more than that, right? When we look at the end of the match here, 20 of 26 passing, 47 touches. He won 8 ground duels. Like, he does all the things out of possession well, but that's not enough touches of the ball for our best player and our number 10. And when we have that extra man in build-up, it doesn't work so well. But the way we fixed that was twofold. Number one, we got a little bit more into Tillman getting a little higher and De La Torre popping in here. We allowed Freeman to have a little bit more freedom at times. Richards covered a lot of space back here. Even Arfson dropped a little bit more at times, and Luna came all the way out wide just to allow some more space here in the center, because I think they knew exactly what we were doing, and when we kind of swapped it, this player here kind of came in with Arfson, allowing Luna to have a little bit more space in behind. But the biggest thing that we did was when we brought on Tyler Adams, which was actually at the same time we brought on Damian Downs. So I'll just quickly swap this here so that it's correct. And Tillman came out wide. But the big thing that happened here, really, when we made this switch to go into this kind of build-up, was it allowed, as crazy as it sounds, Sebastian Berhalter to have a lot more freedom. It also allowed Malik Tillman to have a lot more freedom, and it also allowed Alex Freeman to have a lot more freedom. And what that meant was Tyler Adams is covering so much ground and able to win the ball back and play the ball quickly upfield that these three players were able to, either two of them would come inside and 2 times Freeman played a ball into this space to Damian Downs, or if that wasn't happening, these two guys were garnering so much respect, and Berhalter was able to get into this area, so everybody thought this ball was going to come in here from Freeman into Berhalter, and the way that we'd been playing out to the wide, and that Malik Tillman was able to get space way out wide, which is not the best place for Malik Tillman, but when he needs to get onto the ball more in a match, it works out well. And 3-4 times Malik Tillman had opportunities to get down this wing and swing in crosses to Ajimang and Downs. Unfortunately, none of them resulting in goals, but just a totally different level of creation to what we saw in that first half. And you just have to credit Pochettino when he deserves credit for making those types of fixes. It was very, very, very necessary. Damian Downs, I thought, was just excellent. I really, really liked the way that he made runs into space. He's still very raw in possession, but there were things that he does that nobody else in this current squad has the capability of doing. Number one, there were 2 times Chris Richards played long balls from inside his box directly to Damian Downs' feet, and Damian Downs had pinned his defender and one touched the ball right down into Diego Luna's feet. And both those times it turned into a great counterattacking situation. The second thing that Damian Downs does so well is making an angled run and timing it perfectly. And it's something that you really can't teach. But what he does is, this ball comes out here, and let's say Damian Downs is kind of hanging out over here. The second this ball comes out here, he starts creeping this way. And as Freeman takes that touch into space, Damian Downs makes this run diagonally this way into the channel. And as he's making the run, he starts heading upfield so that when this ball runs into his path, he is running on the right angle to make something dangerous happen, right? So many players we see make this run, and they go so direct this way that by the time they get on the ball, this line of defense has turned around and gotten in his way. But by turning this upfield and Freeman playing this ball around the corner, it adds a totally different element to the way that we are able to attack. And I can't say enough about Alex Freeman and Damian Downs. At their age, what they're doing for their country in their first opportunities has just been unbelievable. I will say there are some things I still would like to see better from some players, especially Diego Luna. I have not been overly impressed by his ability to have an impact on matches. I know he did all right in that first match against Trinidad and Tobago, as did a lot of players, but he's not willing enough to make these mini sprints into space. The one time he did, I mentioned it already in this video, he made something special happen, but Diego Luna is the kind of player who needs to get on the ball and turn and run. And without that capability, he isn't a game changer. And when he gets out wide, he gets frustrated, he gets isolated, and he's unable to create. When he gets too central, he isn't able to get into the pockets and be an option. We saw it so much in the first half when he got stuck like literally too much in the middle of the pitch. He wasn't able to get into those pockets and show himself to the ball. It's a big couple of matches coming up for Diego Luna because this was supposed to be the summer where he convinces the coach and all of us that he's a real part of this team. And he's still teetering on the edge, whereas guys like Freeman, Jack McGlinn, even Damian Downs, like they're kind of all showing something that we didn't have. I'm not sure Diego Luna has quite done that yet or accomplished that in the way that he was hoping to. But overall, a really strong match, and I really do have to credit Pochettino for making this switch to get Tyler Adams on the pitch, getting into a little bit of a flatter 4-4-2 towards the second half of the second half when we took that lead, right? He just kind of was able to adjust the way he played without completely taking out the creative and counterattacking abilities that this team has. Like he went to Brendan Aronson here when he needed to out on the wing, which I think was smart just because it adds a little bit of energy. Like I don't love Brendan Aronson, but in this side, that was the right player to get on there. He kept Tillman out wide where he can be a transitional threat. Tillman's not necessarily known to be a transition player, but when you get someone of his athleticism and ball carrying abilities out wide in a match where the team has to chase a goal, it just allows him to get himself into so many opportunities where he's playing a ball forward into these two strikers. Downs kind of sitting in behind Adjamang, kind of making this space his own as Adjamang brings the defense deeper and deeper. So really well done by Pochettino there. And then lastly, let's move forward and look at what the Haiti match is going to look like and the starting 11. We're through to the next round. We have a +6 goal differential to Saudi Arabia's 0. I would expect us to go a completely different 11 almost in this match to see some other options, to rest some players. We've already played 4 matches now since June 6th. So in 13 days, we've played 4 matches. So that's a considerable amount. I'd expect to see something like this. This is what I'd like to see. Matt Freese has been awesome. I just think Matt Turner deserves the chance to play a match. I mean, as much as I want Matt Freese to be the number one, I think Matt Turner deserves the opportunity to play. So I'm going to have Turner in goal. I would go with completely different back four than what we've seen. Like the back four just deserves to get a rest. They've all played excellently and played a lot of minutes. So I'd go Miles Robinson at right back, who came on late in that game at right back. Walker Zimmerman and Mark McKenzie as the center back pairing with John Tolkien, who I'd really like to see more of at left back. So this one is, I want to see these two play together. This is an interesting dynamic to me, a really aggressive center back with a more cautious defensive-minded left back who can get forward. The pivot, I definitely want Johnny to start. It's weird because Johnny and Adams haven't played, so if you were going to fully rotate, you'd see them together, but I do expect Tyler Adams was just trying to get healthy, and he'll be in the 11 in the knockout round, so maybe you go Berhalter again with Johnny, and you get back into this little bit more attacking where Johnny can play as a true controller 6 with players in front of him, and so we don't need that extra man in build-up. That's how I would expect to see it. I'll show you the possession that I think it'll look like once I go through the 11. I think the front four will look something like this, like what we saw against Switzerland, where weirdly he had Paxton almost as a second striker, Brendan off the left, Quinn Sullivan off the right, and you can't say anything other than great things about what we've seen from Damian Downs so far. Deserves a start, deserves an opportunity, and for him, this is an opportunity to be like, I should start in the knockout rounds. So there's a couple of players that'll be interesting to watch, Downs and Tolkien specifically, and then how this Johnny and Berhalter duo gets on here in the middle. In possession, it's a little bit different because neither of these fullbacks are super attack-minded players, so it would definitely change the way we would play. I'd expect it to look like a little bit more like the 3-1-4-2 attacking possession base. So you'd probably get something more like this in possession, where Johnny is playing as a real 6, a controller who is able to dictate tempo, be that metronome in midfield. You have Berhalter pop out here at times. McKenzie loves to spray the ball. I think you'll see a lot more right-hand side bias, right, where we've seen mostly left-hand side bias going through Max Arfson a lot of the time. I think with this formation, you would see a lot more of McKenzie kind of spraying this ball over here and the ball tending to come out to Quinn Sullivan to hold the width. These two players playing off of each other well, even could swap it at times. I wouldn't mind Downs being the second striker, the way that we've seen him play so far. And then Aronson and Berhalter being the central options, with Tolkien kind of keeping the width out here. So that's what I would expect it to look like mostly in possession. If we were going to play the 3-2-4-1 possession, it would probably look something like this, which is not super exciting because this leaves Tolkien with a lot of offensive responsibility, which is not really his strong suit. But again, I would expect the play to come down the right-hand side a lot more, considering Arfson wouldn't be starting. But who knows if that's really how it's going to go. It's just that's how I would like to see it. I think Downs deserves a chance to start, and there needs to be a lot of rotation. So that's the performance. The U.S. men's national team is into the knockout stages of the Gold Cup. We've got a fun match against Haiti coming up with no stress, but hopefully a chance to see Damian Downs play and an opportunity for Johnny Cardoso to get his first good match under his belt for the U.S. men's national team. This is Yanks Abroad. We're covering the U.S. men's national team. I'm covering the U.S. men's national team all the way up and through the World Cup next year, keeping up to date every single week with what's going on with them. So if you're new to the channel from the Gold Cup this summer, make sure to subscribe down below. Videos every week, TikTok videos, breaking down specific performances, the little niches of them, how they'll relate to the way they'll play for Pochettino in the U.S., and everything in between. Anything you want me to cover or talk about, just leave it in the comments below. Be glad to answer any questions. Could even do a video between the Haiti match and the knockout rounds to answer any questions that you guys have. So make sure to drop them down below. Thank you so much for watching and subscribing, and we'll talk to you on Sunday for the Haiti match.